What do you do when the two people you love and trust the most in the world betray you? I've been asking myself this question for the last few days, and I have no answer. Before any of this happened, I, Hank, had been living happily with my wife for 7 years, Daisy. See, there were a few problems which I'll explain in a bit, but all in all, life was good. I met her at a convention, and we just found each other very interesting. We started dating, and in a few years we got married. No matter the problems I faced, Daisy has always been a great wife and an amazing partner. I've spent years believing that I was very lucky to have a wife like her. After Daisy, there was one more person who I believed would make my life better. It was my best friend Rick, who lived near me. I became friends with Rick back in college, and we've been inseparable since, and we've been friends for almost a decade. So you can imagine the amount of trust and love I had for the guy. Heck, I celebrated when he moved in close to us after getting married. It was one of the truly happiest days of my life. When I say this, I did everything for Rick. I mean everything. He was my best man, and vice versa. I set him up with the person who he ended up marrying, and he was the one who helped me propose. I've never had many friends, and Rick has just been a pillar of support in my life. He was more than a friend. He was like my own brother. Also, he and Daisy got along very well, which made me very, very happy. Now, everyone has probably guessed what's going on. So I'll just come out and say it. I recently found out that my best friend and my wife, both of whom I loved and trust more than anything, have been sleeping with each other. Can you imagine how I feel? I mean, honestly, I can't even describe it. But we're jumping too far in the story, so let me continue. Everything was good with my life until about 6 months ago, because that's when I started noticing changes. By changes, I don't mean anything too drastic, but just small changes. All in Daisy's behavior. She just felt a little distant and sometimes made me wonder if she was falling out of love from me. I'd always tried to be as good of a husband as I could, and I always felt that she could do a lot better than me. But whenever I had doubts, Daisy would tell me that I had everything she wanted in a partner, and she was more than happy with me. She would always convince me that I was perfect and that I was a great husband. So where exactly did I go wrong? I have no damn idea. Because she was so convincing, I never worried about it, but the past few months have made me feel like she was a bit unhappy. Whenever I spoke to her about it, she said that she was very happy, and I had nothing to worry about. Believe me, I tried to talk to her about it, but whenever I brought it up, she just shot it down. When I spoke to Rick about it, oh man, he said that he understood and sometimes felt the way too. For context, his wife Emma is way above his league. He said that I was just feeling insecure and told me that Daisy loved me a lot and was never going to go away. I decided to take his advice and stop doubting my wife. Well, after that, things became fine for a while, until about 2 weeks ago, when I found out something very, very bad. So about 2 weeks back, I returned early from work and decided to surprise my wife with a little groceries. I knew her timetable and was sure that she would be there. When I went in, I saw her looking for a few things to buy while talking on the phone with somebody. Now, this was not surprising, and I'm not a jealous person, but the phone she was using to talk with did not seem like hers. The cover was similar, but a little bit different. And since I had bought that cover for her, I knew that this was not the one. For a second, I thought she had done something with the cover and ordered a similar-looking one. But that did not make sense because she would just tell me that it was a gift, but not a special one where she would feel the need to hide anything that happened to it. You know, this made me very, very suspicious, so I decided to do something. I felt bad for suspecting my wife, but I still did it because my gut told me to. So I hid behind a shelf and called her. To my surprise, she took out her actual phone and answered. I asked her if she was in the store and told her I was just outside of it, and she said that she was just about to come out. After that, she put the extra phone in a pocket, and I've never seen that she had in her purse. It looked like a hidden pocket. As you can see, this made me even more suspicious. So I immediately went outside. When she came in, I asked her if I could hold her purse, but she refused and just gave me the groceries. When we reached home, she immediately put the purse somewhere I couldn't find. And asking for it would have been stupid, so I didn't do it. I kept telling myself that it's probably just a work phone or something, and she felt that the timing was not as important because I did not want it to be what my head was telling me. I lived in denial for a few days as I looked for the phone. I knew that she took it with her when she went to work, and she stashed it somewhere I could never find when she was home. I really wanted to talk to Rick about this, but I first thought that I should wait until I was sure what this was. Boy, oh boy, I'm glad that I did not speak to him about this. It's hard to believe, but even throughout all this, I still kept telling myself that Daisy was not cheating on me, and that this was just something that happened as maybe an explanation behind it. But the fact is that I was scared to even ask her, because I didn't want to know the real truth. It was always clear to me what was happening, I just did not want to accept it. A week ago, I had to accept the fact when I finally found the phone. I told my wife that I was going to run in the morning and waited for her to take a bath. I take a long time to exercise, and since my wife had no way of knowing that I was doubting her, I knew that she was going to slip up. While she was taking a shower, I immediately found the bag. She was going to take to work and searched around till I found the phone. When I looked at the phone, all of my fears, they came true. It was mostly used to call and talk to one person. Funny enough, it was labeled work, but I wasn't stupid enough at this point to think that she needed another phone for work. I checked the calls, the messages, and the person felt weirdly familiar. It didn't really take a long time to examine the text, but I felt that I knew something but could not figure it out. Although I managed to see that they had a meeting planned after work the next day, I decided to go see what was up. At this point, I was wishing that my wife had a secret drug business or something, because I didn't want to find out that she betrayed me like this. Honestly, I would have been happy if she was a drug kingpin or something. I would have supported her. It would be better than what the real truth is. So I spent that entire day being incredibly nervous, as I kept wishing it was something else. I did not want my wife to cheat on me because I knew that the amount of love I had for her would make it unbearable. The next day, I genuinely did not want to go. But I had no other option and went to the faraway cafe that they decided to meet at. I waited with a mustache disguise, as Daisy would have immediately noticed my usual clothing. I waited for a few minutes until my wife arrived with her date. Then something happened that shattered my entire world. It literally swept the land from underneath me. It felt like my soul got yanked out of my body. What I mean by this is that the shock I felt was almost indestructible. Absolutely indescribable. I saw her walking down, hand in hand with my best bud, Rick. They looked very happy. Honestly, they look like a great couple, and they just placed their order. I immediately got out of there because I've seen anything I needed to see. I would have lost it right then and there, and the shock was so great that I became emotionless for over an hour, and then I cried trying to deny what I saw with my own 2 eyes. My best friend is sleeping with my wife. Unfortunately, I still find it hard to believe because this is the worst thing anybody could do to me. It feels like a targeted attack from God or something. I trusted those 2 more than anyone in my life, and after my parents, those are the 2 people I was willing to die for. It's been 2 days since then, and I've barely spoken to Daisy or Rick. I can't even see them without thinking about what they're doing to me. Honestly, I'm kind of losing my mind. I've been waking up hoping everything was just a dream, but then reality hits me and I feel depressed. This is so absurd that I'm not sure anyone I tell would even believe me. Plus, the only 2 people I shared this stuff with are the ones involved. What did I do to deserve this? I don't know what to do. That's the reason I'm writing here. I have no idea what to do next. Please give me suggestions that can actually help me out. I'm begging you. Update number 1. Hey guys, it's been a week since I've posted, and I finally made a decision. I've decided to confront my wife, but without telling her everything I saw. This is for a reason that I'll explain in a bit. So before I start this, I want to thank everybody who showed me support and left some good suggestions. So, a few days after my post, I had no other option but to come to terms with what was happening. Both Daisy and Rick left me no other option but to accept what was going on. Obviously, she noticed that something was off. I lied to her and told her it was work-related. I did this because at that point, I was still not sure how I want to confront her. So, after I got my emotions under control, I tried to see how much my wife and best friend were going to lie to me. I honestly thought that if I did something, my wife or Rick would immediately break down and tell me the truth. I think I wanted to do this so that I could prove to myself that I still knew them and that they were still the same people I loved. I one day spoke to my wife about what she thought of Rick. She was a bit confused at first and asked me why I questioned her like this, but I told her I just wanted to know. She looked me straight in the eyes as she told me how much she trusted and respected and liked Rick for being a great friend to me. She said that she was always seeing him as my brother and is happy that he moved in close, as he makes me very happy. What surprised me was that there was something, or should I say nothing, in the way that she said everything that could make me doubt her. She gave the perfect answer that normally would have made me love her a lot more. She did not have a hint of guilt, not a hint of shame, nor of fear in her voice, so I was sure she never expected me to find out. Then I did the same to Rick and told him that I was just doing this to compare their answers and see who cared about me more. He had similar things, like she's the perfect person for me to have as a wife, and he's very happy for me, yada yada yada. He said that she's the only person he trusts to take care of me, and she's also a good friend to him. The feeling was completely the same for him. He had no hint of guilt, not for 1 second did he feel bad for what, he's done to me. Which meant that either he didn't want me to be happily married or he didn't care about me at all. Believe me, this really made me sad, but I had to pretend to be happy, which was pretty hard. So guys, after I spoke with his wife, Emma, and just acted like I was catching up with her, what I was actually doing was to see if she had any idea about the affair, which she clearly did not. It was sure by the way she was speaking. And just like me, a month ago, she had no idea what was going on behind her back. I wanted to tell her right then and there, but I decided not to do it, because I wanted to do something else. I've decided to confront my wife without mentioning my best friend. That's because I want to see if she's going to come clean with me, because if she is not, then I have something else planned for her, and oh boy, which will not be good for any of us. Honestly, guys, I don't want to do what I'm thinking about right now, so I'm just going to try to give my wife one last chance, and if she accepts, everything, then I'll handle it myself, but if not, then the thing, it's going public. I'll let you guys know what happens in the very next updates. Update number 2. Hey guys, I wish I was coming here with good news, but I don't think anything is good in my situation, is it? It's been almost 2 weeks since my last update, and I did what I said I would. And by that, I mean I confronted my wife about almost everything except mentioning my best friend, and it did not go well. A few days after my last update, I took the phone out of her purse and asked my wife why she was cheating on me. She wasn't even surprised, and she just laughed it off. She said that was her office phone, silly, and she had mistakenly brought it home with her. She also immediately told me that she also got the same type of cover I bought her to put on this phone. She said that she only got text on it from clients, and the number connected to one of her colleagues who made appointments. She texted it to show me, and when there was no reply for 5 minutes, she called. I wasn't even surprised when a woman picked up and asked what was wrong. Then Daisy said that she had forgotten to put the pin back, and the woman on the other line said it was okay. I was almost impressed that they had layers to this, and honestly, if I had confronted her about the phone when I found it, I would have been put down very easily. But she did not know that I knew the truth. She was very surprised when I refused to believe her and asked her to come clean with me right now. Guys, she kept trying to explain that she wasn't cheating on me, and the more she lied, the more mad I got. So I told her that I simply knew that she was cheating on me with somebody and told her that this was the last time I was asking her to come clean. This, for some reason, made her very mad, and she told me that she had taken enough. She said that this is not how you treat a loyal wife. She started acting like I had murdered somebody, and she started screaming at me for even accusing her of this. But I did not let it go. I kept asking her to come clean until she slapped me and left the house. Well, guess what she did then? She called my family and her family and told everybody I lost my marbles and gone mad. She said I was harassing her by trying to force her to admit that she was a cheater. I got hundreds of calls that day, and many members of the family screamed at me for doing that, especially mine and her parents. I apologized to them and said that I was having a really bad misunderstanding. I promised that nothing like this was ever going to happen again. Well, A few days later, Daisy came back home and I apologized to her and said that I was acting stupid. I told her that I was just acting on my insecurities because I felt that I was not enough for her and believed that she was cheating when I saw the phone. She accepted and told me it was her fault too. She should have told me about the phone, as without it nothing would have happened. I did the same thing that she did to me and told her exactly what she wanted to hear to believe that everything was hunky-dory. But before I left the issue to die, I told her that there was something that she wants to tell me. Now's the time. I said that I wanted no secrets between us, and she said that she would never hide anything from me. Rick also called me asking why I had done that. I gave him the same fake explanation. He even came to have dinner with us to check if everything had gone back to normal. I've got to say that Rick is really great at pretending to be a good friend. He should be an actor. All of that happened a few days ago, and now my wife has left me with no choice but to take another route. I genuinely wanted her to come clean with me, but since both of them refused to tell me the truth, I'm planning on making them spill everything in front of the whole family. How am I going to do it? Well, I have evidence that'll surely make them talk. Please just give me a few weeks and I'll let you guys know exactly what happens. Final updates. Hey, my friends, it's been a month. I apologize for making you wait so long for an update, but the thing is, I had to wait for a family function, which is just about a week ago. So it was my cousin's engagement party, and unfortunately for him, that was the place I had to do it. I had no other choice, as I was not willing to wait again. Fortunately, they held the party at our family home, so most of our family members were present. Obviously, Rick and Emma were invited too, because he has been like a family to me, and has always been invited to everything I do. I'd always asked my cousin for permission to play something small for my wife. Knowing what recently happened between me and my wife, my cousin happily agreed to let me share something for her in front of everybody. Of course, I didn't tell him what it was, because I wanted to keep it a secret. I was scared he wasn't going to let me do it, so we all came to the party, and I was absolutely fully prepared. We enjoyed the party. It lasted for quite a while, I would say. And then it came time for me to take the stage and present what I was here to show everybody. Well, before I went, I video called my in-laws asking them to watch this, and I handed the phone to a relative. Then I went up close to the projector and asked everybody to focus their attention on this little video. Right before it started, I told everyone that I was not lying when I said that Daisy was cheating on me and refused to come clean. Well, this generated a big response and everybody was mad at me. Daisy started screaming at me and told everybody that this was the proof that I've gone mad. But before anybody could do anything, I pressed play. A video from my USB drive started playing, where my wife was sitting on my bed and a guy slowly came into the frame and started kissing her. It was none other than my best friend Rick. And before Daisy could even react in the video, they started tearing off each other's clothes. I heard audible gasps from the crowd, and it was like a train wreck that you could not look away from. The only sound I heard was Daisy screaming, "No!" towards the projector as she realized that I planted a camera and caught them having coitus in my own bed. When she took down the projector, I looked at Rick and he was getting, slapped left and right by his wife. Daisy could not even look at anyone, and fortunately she did not have the audacity to apologize after doing that to me. Emma, after hitting Rick, kicked him out of the home, and my mother did the same to Daisy. She kept screaming my name like I was going to save her. But I did go out, and Rick could not even say a word to me, which was good, because if he had said anything, I would have broken his nose. I told both of them that I've done nothing to them to deserve this, but for some reason they did this to me. I told them I never wanted to see their faces again, and warned Daisy that if she tried to come back, I would call the police. And the worst part of that is that they've become the pariah of the society, I'd say. No one's ready to talk to them, and they're even finding it hard to get out of a house without getting slammed. I guess this is going to stay with them for the rest of their lives. They've not shown their faces to us since the party, and Emma and I have been supporting each other throughout this. Obviously, she's kicked out Rick, and we have both decided to divorce our partners. If anybody's wondering, I did apologize to Emma for not telling her about this sooner, and she said it was okay. She's devastated, and it's going to take her a long time to come out of this. I mean, It'll take me a long time too. It's not like I'm happy, but I'm glad I did this and that I threw them out of my life. Now I can focus on divorce and then move on. Lastly, I want to thank you guys for everything you did, and I do hope you agree with what I did. Please let me know.